Femke Bol just shook up the 800 meters, a two-time world champion who walked away from her own event to chase something bigger. Nobody thought she was ready for Olympic champion Keely Hodgkinson. In London, the two of them raced each other for the first time ever, and the result has the track world talking. Here is what happened. At London Stadium in front of a home crowd, Femke Bol lined up against Keely Hodgkinson in the 800 meters for the first time ever. Hodgkinson won, but Bol finished just a quarter of a second behind her, closing hard at the line. An Olympic champion, pushed to the wire by someone who had been serious about this event for less than a year. To understand why that result is such a big deal, you need to know where Bol came from. For years, Femke Bol owned one event, the 400-meter hurdles. She won 2 world titles in it. She took 5 Diamond League titles in a row. She was the athlete everyone else had to catch. Then in October, she made a choice that surprised the entire sport. She said she was done chasing more medals in the hurdles. She wanted a new challenge. She was moving to the 800 meters. This was not a small decision. The 800 meters is one of the hardest events in track and field. It needs raw speed at the start and deep endurance at the end. Bol had barely touched the event since she was 17 years old. Back then, her best time was over 2 minutes and 19 seconds. That is not even close to world class. So when she announced the switch, plenty of people wondered if she was making a mistake. Bol explained her thinking in an interview after the announcement. She said that once the Paris Olympics ended, she and her coach began looking back at everything she had already achieved and looking ahead at what was still possible. She was 25 years old. She was healthy. She felt like this was the right window to try something completely new. She said the 400-meter hurdles had shaped her into the athlete she became, but she wanted to test her limits somewhere else before her career was over. The 800 meters, she said, was an event she had always loved watching. Even long before she ever considered running it herself, her coach did not think so. Laurent Muley has worked with Bol since 2019. He backed the move completely. He explained that Bol's background actually gives her a rare weapon. She is built like a sprinter. Her indoor 200-meter time is under 23 seconds. Her indoor 400 is close to 49 seconds. That kind of raw speed is gold in the 800. Most 800-meter runners cannot close a race the way a former hurdler can. But speed alone does not win 2-lap races. Endurance does. And that is the part nobody could test until she actually raced. Her first real test came in February indoors. She ran a national record of 1 minute 59.07 seconds. It was her first 800 since she was a teenager, and already it was a Dutch record. Then an injury forced her to shut down the rest of her indoor season. She had to wait for the outdoor season to really find out what she had. In June, she made her outdoor debut in Ostrava. She finished second, clocking 1:57.13. 5 days later, she won a race in Hengelo in 1:57.41. Her times were dropping fast. Then came Paris. At the Paris Diamond League, Bol lined up against Audrey Werro, the fastest 800-meter runner in the world this year. Werro is a Swiss athlete who has been closing in on the world record all season, a mark that has stood since 1983. She won that race in Paris with a stunning 1:53.80, the second fastest 800 meters ever run. But right behind her was Bol, crossing the line in 1:50.60, a massive personal best and a new Dutch national record. In just her third outdoor race at this distance, she had already dropped into territory that most 800-meter specialists take years to reach. Afterward, Bol said the result gave her a lot of confidence and that she felt free to race without putting pressure on herself for a specific time. That result changed how people saw her. This was not a hurdler playing around in a new event anymore. This was a real threat. Then came London. The Diamond League meet at London Stadium, in front of a home crowd cheering for Britain's Keely Hodgkinson. Hodgkinson is the reigning Olympic champion in the 800 meters. She is one of the best 2-lap runners the sport has ever produced. And here is the twist. Hodgkinson and Bol are actually close friends. They first met when Bol was 21 years old. They travel to the same training camps. They get coffee together and text often. Before the race, Hodgkinson described Bol as built like a gazelle, someone who just runs and shows up in fast races wherever she goes. Despite the friendship, the two of them had never once raced each other in the 800 meters before that Saturday. The stakes were high on both sides. Hodgkinson had not won a race all season, and she made it clear before the meet that winning at home was the priority. Bol, meanwhile, was walking into her first ever showdown with an Olympic champion in a stadium full of people who were not cheering for her. The race came down to the final 200 meters. Hodgkinson made her move first. She surged and opened up a gap, the way a champion is supposed to when the pressure is on at home. For a moment, it looked like she would win comfortably. But Bol did not fade. She kept closing. Meter by meter, she cut into that lead all the way to the finish. Hodgkinson admitted afterward that winning mattered more to her that day than the time on the clock. She called it important to hold her ground at home. Hodgkinson crossed the line in 156.21. Bol was right behind her in 156.46, a gap of just a quarter of a second. Third place went to Tsige Duguma of Ethiopia, the Paris Olympic silver medalist, in 156.92. That alone shows how strong this race was. An Olympic medalist finished half a second behind Bol, an athlete who had been racing this event seriously for only a matter of months. Look at how fast her times dropped across one season. 2 minutes flat indoors in February, 157 in June, 155 later in June, 156 against an Olympic champion in July. That curve is not normal. Most 800-meter runners spend years building the raw speed Bol already had walking in from the hurdles. What she is building now, race by race, is the endurance to use that speed over 2 full laps. Nobody knows where the ceiling is once that endurance fully catches up to her speed, and that uncertainty is exactly what makes her dangerous. Bol is not chasing quick wins. She is building toward the Los Angeles Olympics in 2028, which means London was never the finish line. It was one data point on a much longer road, and there is a bigger picture behind it too. Werro is currently the fastest woman in the world over 800 meters this year, with a time closing in on one of the oldest records in track and field. Hodgkinson is the Olympic champion trying to hold her ground. Bol has now planted herself firmly into that conversation. What was supposed to be a 2-woman fight for supremacy in this event has suddenly become a 3-way battle. The next chapter is already set. Hodgkinson and Bol are expected to meet again at the European Championships in Birmingham starting August 10. That rematch will answer the real question everyone in the sport is asking. Was London a one-time near miss, or is Bol actually closing the gap for good? A win there would do more than settle a friendly rivalry. It would tell Werro and everyone else in this event that the field just got a lot more crowded at the top. Femke Bol did not just test the 800 meters. In under one season, she went from a national record indoors to a performance that shocked the sport in Paris, to nearly catching an Olympic champion on her home track in London. She proved she belongs in this event, and the next race in Birmingham will show just how far she still has left to climb.